Hey guys, Chris here from Cohesive Friendship Unit. I am here with Brian.
What's going on?
And my boy Jay.
Hello.
And we're going to be doing a little off-topic, open forum discussion on Smash.
Grease? You talking about Grease?
No, we're talking about Smash 5.
Oh.
Little Smash 5 discussion. But real quick, if you want to participate in the discussion, throw us down a comment. If you like the video, give us a like. And if you love us,
sub us!
Alright,
But
so
make sure you glove yourself first.
So I had this thought, yeah? Smash 5 is coming out, yeah? Before that we had Smash 4. That came out in, 2014. Things were a little different than with Nintendo. The Wii U was failing, their online was shit, and eSports were big. They are actually really big, but they are not as big as they are today. Here we are, come 2018. Smash 5 is coming out. Smash Melee is as big as ever, actually. And the Nintendo online service is launching, presumably with Smash as the headline title. And the Switch is selling like gangbusters. And esports are through the roof right now. Epic's throwing $100 million into Fortnite. I had to sneak it in.
I mean, come on. Like $100 million fucking dollars. $100 million.
That's
for
a Falcon.
Fortnite,
It's
dude.
a Falcon Heavy.
I mean, and
That's the value.
Dude,
the
it's like-
the
it's-
company that I work at that employs 600 people is valued at $100 million.
yeah, I mean, dude, $100 million, you could buy like multiple yachts.
You
And-
could buy many. You could buy a fucking fleet.
You could
of
buy a
yachts.
cruise ship.
All right.
You could buy a fucking jumbo jet.
Anyways, off topic. So, my kind of argument here is that Smash 5, given the current climate, should heighten the skill ceiling. Should go closer to Melee than Brawl. I think of Smash 4 as kind of in between Brawl and Melee, and I think Smash 5 should go as close, if not exceed Melee in the skill ceiling.
Well, what do you mean by the skill ceiling? Like,
So, Melee excels due to what Jeremy might call exploits, but arguably mechanics like L canceling, wave dashing, edge canceling, things like that. Although edge canceling actually made it back in Smash 4. Those mechanics involve a lot of precise input buttons, not necessarily combos like what you would think in like a Street Fighter,
yeah.
but it requires a certain sense that's
Like a timing.
yeah,
type.
it's
That allow you to glitch out the animation.
it's a little higher level than anything you could pull off in Smash 4. And I'm not saying that we need to necessarily bring back wave dashing, but I think increasing the skill ceiling could only be a good thing. Making mechanics that involve deeper knowledge of the game and deeper skill while keeping the game accessible, I think could only benefit Smash. I don't think we need to casualize it. I think we need to make it more competitive.
That's dangerous though, because like you can say it's an esport all you want, but most of the people buying the game are people that are not pros.
But they're going to be launching this online mode, yeah?
Yeah.
And I think the more competitive it is, the better. If you're
Well,
going to
for
try
online, yeah, but
and for
I don't know. You don't want to cheat. And not that I'm saying that like we're talking about shades here. It's not like they're gonna come out with something that's garbage. But like you don't want to make it like, oh, it's esports. Go like you don't want to push out the person who's kind of more casual by putting in like a bunch of these. They're not really hidden mechanics, but something that you have to play it a lot to really get any use of.
I mean,
it at all.
how many hundreds of hours, Chris, have we played of Smash?
many.
Many hundreds.
How many wave dashes?
Probably well into the thousands, and neither of us know how to do wave dash.
I know how to wave dash, but
We know
can't
what it
do
is.
it.
Chris knows how to do it in theory. None of us have ever done it.
The coolest thing I can do in Smash is edge canceling, and I die probably 20% of the time when I attempt it.
So, Chris, my question to you is how concretely, outside of just bringing back the exploit / mechanics that were in Melee, how would you actually want to increase the skill ceiling?
Well, so here's the thing. Especially with Melee. Again, how many times have we wave dashed? 0. How many hours of Smash have we played? I would say we are definitely casual players of Smash. we've played many hundreds of hours. We can still have that casual audience, that casual fun. But then there are these slightly deeper mechanics. I mean,
but what I'm saying is
those-
that when you focus on something, you kind of lose focus on everything. Like when you're focusing on one thing, even if it's not like a super sharp focus, everything else is kind of gonna fade out a little bit because you're focusing on one thing. If you want to, I don't know. I feel like what I'm saying is that the effort that they could put in. I mean, this stuff that we're talking about, I can see why Jeremy calls it an exploit because it is kind of like you're hammering on the graphics system and it's kind of
You're glitching out the animations in a way that let you do things you're not supposed to be able to do.
Like they did leave it in there. It is like they did
knew
leave
about
it in.
it.
They
did
knew
know
about it
it.
and left it in there. So like.
They're like sanctioned exploits.
I can see both sides of that coin, but like when
I
you
don't have a
say
problem
when you
with that.
say
It's
we
just
want
what
to
they
put something like that, even if you
well, even increasing the tempo of the game, making it closer to melee speed.
yeah,
But I think 4 was pretty close to melee speed.
Close, but it's not.
So really you're just saying that you think 5 should be melee.
No.
It sounds like.
I'm saying that increasing the skill ceiling would be
So 5
better than decreasing the skill ceiling.
well, what you really
I agree, but like how concretely do you want to do that? Like what do you think is absent from 5 that you think would make it, superior?
So-
How would you? Because I think that if you're looking at say Brawl, right?
Yeah.
Brawl concretely I think was not as good. I think, but I don't know if it was necessarily a skill ceiling issue. I think that the characters were generally too slow. I think that they rebalanced a couple of the characters in ways that were not helpful. Like I play as Samus, and Samus in Brawl sucks. They introduced the Smash Ball, which was good and bad, and then they had a couple of characters like Meta Knight that were just broken. And then 4 corrected all of those issues. They rebalanced the rebalanced characters like Samus to make them, competitive again, or at least decent.
balanced.
Yeah, they balanced the characters. They increased the speed of the game generally to it being pretty close to melee. I mean, I don't know specifically that it's slower. People say that it is. I don't really notice that it is.
It's slower, but it is definitely faster than Brawl.
Yeah. And so, like, outside of that, like, what do you feel that they still have to do?
So
Aside from the fact that they've left out the sanctioned exploits like wave dashing and...
Well, it's a
Some of the
feature.
others.
They left it in the game. It's not a
Sure.
sanctioned
It doesn't matter. Those elements.
So let me go.
So unless you're just saying I want them to bring wave dashing back, what do you think is not there?
So let me just go from like a beginner up through like just general high level like Smash progression of skill mastery. Or whatever.
No, I know what you're saying, but like...
No, but
You're
real
just
quick.
saying that Smash was the most competitive because it had exploits and the new ones don't. So, like, what do you think we should add in?
No. Real quick though. So like in Smash, you pretty much you learn how to jump and do all that first, right? Like you get your moves and you get your jumps. I feel like next you move on to
Someone
Shield.
shows you the C-stick.
Okay, someone shows the season. I feel like next you kind of move on to shield, right? Like you figure out, oh, there's a shield or whatever. And then you learn how to air dodge and ground dodge. And that's about, you're pretty solid into Smash then, yeah?
Yeah, you're at that point that you're pretty in good shape.
And then at that point you start doing kind of weird, that's when you start getting into like weird mechanics that are actually legit. Things like edge canceling that are intentional, they are features, they are not. Like they're in Smash 4, they've been known about for over a decade, like programmers put them in intentionally. They're like the weird quirky things that will like buy you an extra few frames of animation.
That none of us know how to do.
I know how to do.
You know how to do them, but you
He
can't
knows
do
how
them.
to do them. Not that he's ever checked.
Or like there's something called teching where if you get hit and you land and you time you time like an air dodge perfectly, you'll do a roll instead of falling flat. Like that's kind of like higher tier stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm just talking like adding more of these like quirky higher tier things where if you know what you're doing at the right time, you can make it a little bit more dynamic. And I think increasing the game tempo to Melee wouldn't be a bad thing. Because Melee was a casual, I mean, it was a Smash game. Like, people play it casually. We play it casually. It can be done. It's not like you have to play it as a professional. Like
The other thing about Melee is that you can just pick it up and play it. Like,
That's what I'm
you
saying.
hit A and it punches the guy. You hit B and it does something else. And like I don't know which one it is with that fucking ball and like the super attacks and like.
Oh, that's Brawl and Smash.
That's the
Bros.
two.
Yeah, like it's too like you shouldn't have to like Street Fighter. You can walk up to a Street Fighter machine, put a fucking quarter or $5 bill or however much they are now, and just mash the buttons and the game kind of works. That was what Melee had. The stuff that they put on top of it.
But you can play without it. You can shut that stuff
Yeah,
off.
but it gets back to what was their focus when they were making that? Was it making a fighting game, or was it we have a fighting game now? What are we gonna do to like make it more appealing? And some of that is moving those mechanics into the background a little bit, if that makes sense.
Kind of. I mean, I kind of like the Smash Balls. I kind of like items
I
generally.
like the Smash Balls. But I turn them off.
But so, Chris, kind of what you said, yeah, you do turn them off. But so, kind of what you said was like, you just kind of said that you wanted to be Melee. That's.
Well, I think
You said that,
okay.
like,
I think
there
we
should be
tr-
the exploits that we know from Melee, and it should be faster like Melee.
I don't think we necessarily need those exploits, but I think there should be something.
But those are exploits.
In that realm.
Even if they found them and left them in the game, what you're doing is you're glitching out the animations
But
in
it's-
certain ways and using timing
but
that people
It's
know
not,
about.
it's not something that is
like
like
the developer puts it in. Like let's say
They didn't put it in.
No,
It's
no.
there and they're
Like,
aware of it. Those
Smash-
things are different.
Smash 5, they make Wave Dash an official mechanic and they put it in the game and it's not some obscure thing. Like they're like, this is how you Wave Dash. This is now part of the game. It's slightly more complicated than what you're used to doing, but every character can do it. Maybe it's like I don't know. I'm just making something up, but maybe it's like a ground dodge where you're on the ground and you hit down and air dodge. So down and R.
You're actually turning me against this as we talk about it.
You do down and RL, and that like allows like a wave dash or something. Like I'm just like
yeah. I think whatever like all the stuff where you like jump and then you hit the button at the right time and you roll instead of falling on the like if you saw someone do that you'd be like, oh, that makes sense.
yeah.
Like it's not something that like. You see it,
And
it's
you
like,
can
what
live
the
with-
fuck just happened?
Yeah, you
it's
can
like,
live without it.
Right.
It's like people who play Link and they tether to the side of the course with the hook shot. Like you don't like
You don't have to.
It's necessary. Like it can save you in situations, but like you survive fine without it.
So actually, I think so. Here's the thing. So I think the second example you gave with like Link, that's a good example of like how I think. I think I would like to see more of that in the game. Interesting mechanics that are unique to characters that just add a little bit more depth. That if you're Link and you use the hook shot and you hit the side of the course, bada bing, bada boom, you actually, hook to the course instead of falling off. That's interesting. Or I think Samus can do the same thing.
Zero Suit can. I'm pretty sure.
I think Samus and Melee could.
I'm pretty sure Samus can.
I'm pretty sure Samus and Melee could.
She can definitely wall jump.
So having and having other different interesting mechanics for certain characters that aren't major, but do, if you learn them, give you a slight edge. If you really learn a character, different like slight things like maybe certain characters can do like 3 wall jumps instead of whatever, like just small things. But I actually, after talking about it, I think that all of these like wave dashing bullshit's like gotta go.
I think that
Because when you watch the competitive players play who can like do all of this, like wave dashing and L canceling and the thing with the roll off, it's not fun anymore. It's just like they're just zooming around the course, like fucking charging their power ball in motion and bullshit like that. It's stupid. It's not fun. It would ruin it if they sanctioned it and made it easy to do so that you don't have to be like god tier, like 10,000 hours into Smash. It would not be fun for anybody and it would ruin the game.
But I don't like. I think part of like when you were saying all the character like they needed to rebalance it because characters ended up being OP and like that's still kind of a precision. Like that comes from focusing more on let's give every character their own because there's only so many special things that you can do before it's like, yeah, this guy can make earthquakes and everybody dies.
And
no,
then it
I agree.
becomes
I'm
about
saying
knowing
very
matchups.
subtle.
Yeah.
I'm saying like
right,
like
but that
very
really,
slight.
That really you're kind of getting to the point where it's almost like everybody needs to have the same advantage. Where
And then
it's
you need
a
to know
mechanic.
about characters.
Right, and I don't think there should be like I think it should be something that's hard to do. Like I was saying this to you guys before we started. It's like a pinball machine. Like you're not supposed to bang it around. If you bang it around too much, like it tilts and it shuts off. But you can bang it around a little bit. You can play with you have to know how the game that you're playing works in order to
Right.
be the most effective player at that.
Which I think is why all these things work in Melee, because they're incredibly hard to do. They're not easy. The general
right,
public
but
doesn't even
it's
know about
a
them.
skill differentiator.
So then why don't we just put them in?
Yeah, why wouldn't
Nobody
you-
would care.
Well, so if you're saying why don't you just put them in the exact same way they were, I guess you could. But then you're just saying like I think that the new game should be Smash.
Melee.
Smash
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
classic.
But you're just saying I think the new game should be Melee 2.0, like reskinned
Yeah.
Melee.
I mean, I think from a
Just say that.
competitive
Don't
aspect-
say like I want it to be like Melee and Melee was good. Just say like I like Melee. It should be. Melee.
I mean, I also like Smash 4, and I think Smash 4 is good.
It doesn't affect us because none of us can do these things. So
I think
realistically,
in the
it doesn't
current
matter.
climate, that was my argument. In the current climate, that they should up the competitive aspect. The skill set. Okay, I had a perfect example of this kind of mechanic.
I've never met anyone who can do any of these things.
Do you remember crouch jumping in PUBG?
Yep.
It's that kind of thing.
Yep.
It's like, how to get up
Or
on
like
that.
a jump punch. Like you can
He
do
crouched-
it. You know
he
everybody
crouch
can do
jumped.
it.
He crouch jumped.
Like
That's how he
you're
got
like,
it.
yeah, that's how it worked.
Yeah.
But like they can do it because they know how the game works.
Yeah.
You can't do it because you haven't played the game enough.
And
But I mean, you have to like. It's almost like the stuff is. I know that in Melee, it was included intentionally, but it was like It was like we found this,
And then we
and we
left
think
it in.
it's good, and we left it in.
Yeah.
When you try to create something like that from scratch, it changes the.
I agree.
yeah.
And I mean, Melee came out in 2001, so like this is
20 years.
Yeah, it's 20 years. Jesus Christ. Oh.
Well, so would you guys rather Smash 5 trend more towards Brawl or more towards Melee?
Well, obviously more towards Melee. I think Brawl is
Yeah,
not
yeah.
nearly as good as Melee or 4, but I don't think that's a fair question. You're saying that you just want it to be Melee.
No, I don't care how they do it. I'm not
I
saying
don't
that
care
we
how
need
they do
wave
it. I just
dashing
want
back.
wave dashing and L cans.
I
Why
never-
is that so much
Well,
to ask?
what it is are you going to play fast and loose with the game engine, or are you going to play tight with the game engine? Because
It's
like,
gotta be tight, dude.
right, but that's not why it worked in Melee.
I-
Melee,
Melee
it's
worked
because
because the
it's-
game engine was kind of like, oh,
It was
look
trying
at
its
it.
best.
Yeah, it's doing its
It
best.
was like
as
a
it can.
beautiful accident.
Melee, because everything was obviously better when we were kids.
That's not. Yeah, that's not
Like,
a fair
it
question.
was just a better time. Like,
You're,
How's
just,
it not
you're
fair?
just being nostalgic. Because, A, that's bad framing, because we already have 4, which is more like a lot more like Melee than Brawl.
Okay.
So, like, but you're saying you think that the new game should be even more like Melee than 4.
Yeah.
And I asked you, like, concretely how you would like it to be more like that, and you couldn't give me an answer.
No, I said
Other than
increase the
saying-
tempo and increase the skill set.
Yeah, but that's not an answer. Saying increase the skill ceiling is not an answer.
Then
You
increase
can't
the-
give me you can't give me
Well,
an
I
answer to what
can't
that would mean.
think of a magic mechanic.
Yeah, you're saying I want the exploits that we used to know from when we were kids. And we didn't
Yeah,
even
but
know
that's
about
what
them then,
made
and we
it
don't know how to
fun,
do them
man.
now. We didn't know how to do them. None of us had ever done
but
them.
stuff like that, you know, the possibility that there's this like thing you can do, like
Well,
like
yeah,
it was.
Like if you beat Waluigi on level 12, Mew comes out.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Giga Bowser.
Giga Bowser's there, and
Giga
Metal
Bowser.
Sonic is there. Everyone's there. Melee's a great game.
Yeah, it is.
But like, I don't think this affects almost anybody. If we're talking about like they should re-include old mechanics like / exploits like wave dashing and stuff, it really doesn't affect
I
anybody.
think it affects.
And I don't think the competitive scene would pick up. I think those people who like know how to do that and are super into it are going to stick with Melee anyways.
because it's classic.
I think it
It's
affects.
And 'cause they
I-
played it when
I think
they
it
were
affects
kids,
their
too.
ability to run the game competitively. And I think they have to decide if they want to run it casually or if they want to run it competitively.
Well, it's gonna be casual is the answer. No question about that.
We'll see, because I mean, Smash 4 got more competitive.
But not as much as Melee, which is your whole point.
Yeah, but it like became fun to watch.
Yeah, of course it's fun to watch. It's
But,
fun to play.
but Brawl was not.
Yeah, because Brawl's a bad game.
Here's the real question,
Ouch.
though. Like, if
It
you're
is. It's
Pikachu-
not as fun.
If you're Pikachu and you're metal, how are you going to build up any charge? Because you're a conductor. You'd have the same. Like, he wouldn't be able to do any attacks because he's made out of metal.
Here's the real question. If you beat 100 Wiremen on hard mode,
Oh,
get
will
Falco,
you,
dude.
will you unlock Waluigi?
Are the wiremen conductive? Are they?
Yeah,
are they like,
but you have to
They're
defeat them as
wiremen,
you have to
Brian.
defeat them as Pichu, and you can only use electric attacks.
Yeah, but okay, is it that last like stage with the hand guy? Like, is it the same
He's
one?
there too.
Okay, it's a
He's
wire
there
platform.
too.
The whole thing's fucking grounded. You just and then
Yeah, but you're Pichu, so every electrical attack you do, you get damage also. That's the trick.
It's a masterpiece.
you'd have to isolate yourself from ground.
It's
You'd
difficult.
have to isolate yourself from ground.
It's not easy.
That would
done.
be tricky. You'd have to, yeah.
All right, I think we're good here.
Floating
Yeah.
ground
I
ain't
think
no
we're
joke.
covered. I think we're grounded on this.
We're grounded.
We're grounded.
We're down to earth.
We're grounded.
Brian, would you say that we're grounded?
I wouldn't say I'm grounded at all, Chris, because I'm hyped up about the great comments you guys are going to leave us down in the comment section there. And as always, make sure to click that little ringy dingy up in the top right-hand corner so you get notified of all the cool shit that's going on here on the Cohesive Friendship Unit channel. That's all for me tonight, Chris.
All right, guys. Thanks for checking out our video. We'll catch you guys next time.